So just a couple quick clarifying challenges here. If you want to use the Q&A to ask any questions, either of myself or Dillon this morning, please feel free to do so. Within the tab in which you can use the chat, you can have conversations with yourselves as part of the discussions. And as I was mentioning at Autodesk, we're very excited to host this event because this is a topic that's very near and dear to our heart. You know, we'll be going through a little bit of what we do at the Autodesk Construction Cloud. But just for reference, you know, what we're focusing on and doing here within the Autodesk Construction Cloud is we're helping people connect design into operations. So our leadership in the design space is really what we focus on. Dillon will be talking about some of the tools that he's been able to use within his role to be able to do this. But really what we're doing is we're combining in a unified platform within Autodesk the ability to manage all of your design files, do all of your planning, build whatever projects you're working on, whether they're commercial, industrial, residential, whatever that is, and then operate the buildings through having a digitally connected platform. So within that kind of workflow, all of the idea behind what we're doing is that you don't need to leave one system. So you'll be able to do all of your coordination, all of your collaboration, and still execute on your construction projects. And this is really something that we believe is different than everybody else in the industry, because it is that continuation from our design tools into execution and then reaching the field staff. If there is something that we do not do within the Autodesk Construction Cloud, we partner with other groups that assist us in kind of rounding out your construction technology portfolio. So you'll see a lot of different businesses within this slide. You can actually see that actually here on the left-hand side pipe. This is a company that we just acquired. So what we do is we go out and figure out where we have gaps within our solution portfolio, and we round them out either through acquiring companies, or we go in and we partner with those that you guys are using. Just a couple other things. If you want to ask me any questions, certainly feel free to ask me during the Q&A session. Certainly happy to answer them. But here's my contact information. If we can help you with anything at the Autodesk Construction Cloud, please feel free to reach out to me at lukeforrest@autodesk.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can certainly visit our website. So just another thing here, just in terms of our speaker day, we have an awesome member of the Bird team. So Dillon Shepard. He is the VDC coordinator from Bird. He is a construction professional who has been working in the construction industry in a variety of roles for over 15 years. He's held a bunch of different positions. He started as a journeyman sheet metal worker. He worked his way through being a project manager and estimator. And in his ventures, he's worked on a variety of different projects, including the Surmont 2 project, the FFT, and the LNGC project. When Dillon is not in Edmonton and working, which I'm sure he's doing a lot these days, he's a father of 3 boys who likes camping and getting outside. So Dillon, I'm going to pass it over to you. I'm very excited for your session.
Thank you very much, Luke. Just waiting for this to load up here. All right. Morning, everybody. So for me, looking at VDC and sustainability, I think a big part of that is getting people together in a collaborative and virtual environment, and that really breeds our sustainability and a lot of what we do. So one of the first things that always kind of sticks out for me is the part of 4D construction sequencing and bringing together pieces of schedule, safety, and site layout. For me, one of the big ones is the schedule optimization. That is a iterative process that we can go through on a project. It really allows everybody to see what's going on, the plan, and how to keep the gaps in the schedule from going away. We see a lot of projects now that are getting to smaller and smaller footprints for projects to have laydowns, even site trailers. So, when we need to minimize our total time on site and keep work happening at an optimum rate, doing 4D work is a very big tool towards that. We can do the various site layouts from the various parties that need to put their materials on site, incorporation of safety and where there's danger points or high risk activities, making sure that everybody can see and understand what's going on. As well, I feel the big thing there that's sustainable is that being able to do the snapshots of the project through periods of time. You can also look at your seasonal information that's available to you, limit your heating and hoarding, which are, you know, extremely costly and not always viewed as sustainable in a lot of ways. Looking at lost time as well, and prevent bottlenecks or overuse on available site space. Another topic would be, for me, was the prefabrication. For me, this was a big piece from starting in the estimating and project management side and bringing in the use of BIM and VDC. When we're looking at trying to reduce the number of high-risk activities that can happen on a traditional job site, you know, I mean, welding, high-pressure testing are some that can be considered dangerous depending on the site environments. Ones that stuck out for me as well was there was a lot less waste generated. I've seen this in my experience as a mechanical contractor, that we were able to better plan and coordinate for the individual trades, and then bring that all together. We were able to turn over a higher quality product that's typically at a lower cost than in a traditional in the field installation. Having a clean and dry and controlled environment definitely helps ensure that less materials are wasted and typically a faster install rate on site. Another piece that I feel was valuable is that we can do a lot of offsite verification and eliminate costly findings that traditionally would have been left to found in the field. They can delay your project. Taking this on early in the project is something that I think is sustainable in reducing downtime on projects. I see with the continued adoption of VDC on projects that sustainability will continue to be an outcome that all project stakeholders will get as part of joining this process. Tying into a longer part of the VDC process would be feeding into the building analytics and monitoring. As far as I'm concerned, VDC plays that elemental role in the collection and documentation of a project through design and construction phase. When looking to turn over a building to an owner, they are provided with a very hands-on set of data that was captured during the construction and design phase. VDC is able to tap into people. Oh, did I lose my... Sorry there. VDC is able to, through collaboration, is able to tap into people and organizations earlier to help ensure the right information is available to the long-term stakeholder and captured and retained at the right time. When VDC is utilized on a project, teams are learning about the data generated from the process. In turn, they become downstream beneficiaries as this projects require more collaborative effort. This is providing early sustainability to projects by having the visuals and necessary data available in a variety of ways. VDC works in the long-term sustainability of a building by supporting building analytics through enhanced data capturing and making it available in a non-siloed environment. Some other initiatives that I feel that the VDC process supports, for me, Passive House is one that I've looked into a lot too. I see us being able to support the bringing in data that will help with whether it's calculating thermal bridging, figuring out your solar heat gain, or carbon embodiment. I know that they're having a session as well on September 8th that talks about the use of BIM and VDC to do a project out in Vancouver there as well. The Green Building Initiative, I mean, that looks at a variety of aspects that include the site. So as far as I can see, VDC can help reduce ecological impacts and bring together the various parties that impact the site and track and monitor those metrics. LEAD, I feel like LEAD looks at a variety of sustainable points that VDC can help. Site development and restore the habitat parts can be definitely captured and documented. Looking through the commissioning phase are parts where VDC can be tapped into, and that can help with those processes. Your measurement and verification, bringing in the laser scans, that allows you to do quality checks for stuff that otherwise could take a long period in the time in the field, can be checked and verified through the use of modeling. Lean construction, I consider to be a natural byproduct of what VDC work does. Lean looks for early collaboration. VDC is about communication and collaboration. They both look at design, schedule, just in time, and concepts like big room. Summary, I think VDC will continue to find new ways to deliver value to project stakeholders and feed the idea of sustainability. VDC is all about breaking down our traditional silos that we've seen and brings everybody together in that common place, and allows us to test and verify things in advance. The way I've looked at it, doing VDC work is like having a big sandbox, and you can do a dress rehearsal as many times as you need to figure out how to get it right. Is there questions? Open up for questions at this point.
Yeah, hey Dylan, that's awesome. I very much appreciate the presentation. Just a question. I know that when we kicked off the top here that we outlined kind of your career. How did you get into being a VDC coordinator? Like what made you go that route?
So when I started doing the estimating and project management as a mechanical contractor, I realized how repetitive and mundane some of the process of going through and generating an estimate and then moving through onto generating shop drawings and so on. You kind of move through that process, and there was a lot of people doing the same job over and over and over again. The data didn't really change. So one of the things that I used was the Autodesk fabrication suite, and we were able to centralize into a database a lot of our industry knowledge and make it repeatably successful. For me, that led into getting into the realization that modeling was the path forward, and bringing data that was valuable to a variety of people was really valuable. So yeah. When just seeing that was such an eye opener that it steered me towards the direction of the larger concept of communicating everybody's stuff.
Yeah, awesome. What do you think holds other people back from going this way? Because I think when we look at the Canadian construction industry, we see more and more BIM usage starting to kind of poke its head. But what do you think kind of holds the industry back from going that way?
There could be a variety of things. I think some people, it's a fear of change, maybe. Sticking to traditional ways, it's the way we've always done it. That's worked. It's good. Other ones, maybe just the fact that they're not sure, don't know. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think it's just continuing to evolve and like yourself, see the advantages of it. We've got a question here from Tyler B. So his question is, are you starting to see the use of augmented reality on site to convey design intent and resolve issues? I myself haven't seen it. I know it's something that we're talking about and actively looking to bring into the industry. There's a lot of interest in it, as far as I can tell. I look forward to seeing that come in. I think there's still some challenges when it comes to making it mobile friendly enough and being workable in some safety aspects as well, because there's some distraction potentially there as well.
Yeah, I know when I put on the visor, it's like I get a headache 10 minutes in, and so I think you got to get kind of comfortable in it. But within that, you actually mentioned the field. How are you getting this design intent out to the field? Like, what are you seeing from the way that they're using the work that you're doing?
So I mean, we spend time with the tradespeople on site, whether it is spending time just in a model-based environment, or producing short videos showing 40 simulations of the planned activities on site. Even clash detection work, allowing the project's teams to see that earlier on in advance. It gets everybody into the problem-solving mind, and that's really helpful.
For sure. I just had a chat or a question that actually just left the window. I'm not sure why that did, but if you had published that, I think it was Tyler C. maybe. If you had written that and you want to get that question out there again, just type it in again. But where do you see kind of the major advantages? I know you went through a little bit of it, of using 3D models for your construction projects.
I see that we are able to get a complete building that is clash free, or minimizing our amount of issues that we have to sort out on site is probably the largest piece that I see. When you're moving fast in a project and you run into problems, depending on the nature of the problem, they can delay you or impact you significantly. So with everybody being able to get in there and get their hands on this now, we're catching stuff way sooner than we normally would have.
Yeah, awesome. So we got a couple other questions here from the group. What is the biggest pain point when dealing with manufacturing and supplier data?
I think some are hesitant to share their information to the level that is valuable for the construction process. I mean, some stuff you get just a plain block, and other ones you can get all the connection points and some good value there. It just is challenging though. A lot of times some of that stuff doesn't get picked until the very end, so you are just using a placeholder, and then you can pull the trigger on a piece of equipment and suddenly it doesn't fit in your room.
Yeah, for sure. So the question that was asked that deleted itself but is now back in the chat is, how much expertise in Six Sigma, TPS, or the like do companies need to implement lean construction in your opinion? How do we get it to that level?
That's one I don't have a good answer for at this point. I mean, I don't know a ton about Sigma or Six Sigma, but I mean, the continued use of VDC, as far as I'm concerned, will flush out a lot of the lean principles as well. I feel like using VDC, because it's such a visual tool with a lot of data, a natural outcome of that would be something where people can understand the shortfalls of a schedule, or scope gap is a common thing that I see, or a gap in a schedule where there's no planned activities, but we can see the model elements to show, hey, look, we have these objects that we need to figure out how they're going to get installed in the building, but we don't have a schedule placeholder.
For sure. Another question came in from Sam A. So what type of projects does VDC is it most implemented on?
I've seen a variety. I mean, I guess for a lot of that, I see probably public funded jobs, but I mean, in the industrial side, there's tons. I would see it being a staple, very much so in that side. Commercial, I haven't ran into many that weren't as of late in the last few years. When I definitely started, it was very unheard of. So I think in the last, say 5 years, VDC has gained a tremendous amount of traction in the commercial and industrial world. I don't know much about the residential side, so that's something I don't really have an answer for.
Yeah, for sure. So I think in regards to that, how often within the contracts that you guys are working on is VDC a requirement from the owner?
Quite a bit. I see now. I mean, I feel like it's a very prominent request. It may not be spoken directly as VDC in it, but there's definitely requirements for us to take precautions, use modeling, go through a coordination process, use the information that's being generated to help everybody.
Yeah, for sure. A follow-up question, something that I'm always curious about is within this process, right? So if you're owning this process, how are you collaborating with all the multiple stakeholders? What's that process look like? How do you manage that from your standpoint?
We use a variety of things. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of a lot of what we do. I mean, looking at some of what Autodesk does, there's the cloud-based approach. We have your traditional meetings where we're coming in, bringing in the collection of everybody's stuff, able to, navigate and maneuver through it so that we can bring up the various pieces and then people can talk about it. We can show what we need to show in that sense.
Yeah, have you found that during the last since March here, we've all been dealing with COVID-19. Have you seen an acceleration in having people involved more digitally than just kind of saying, let's book a meeting and go through this?
Yeah. Sorry there.
No problem. Got to get the kids to school this morning, right? That's the call. Yeah.
No, with the whole change in the direction, the use of Teams even has been a huge tool. We can bring everybody in. We can bring up stuff like Navisworks or Revisto, all valuable tools that way that allow everybody to get engaged, I think is a good way to say it.
Yeah. So within the sharing of information there, within the sharing of information, you mentioned that you're using Teams, you're using Autodesk. Is there anything else that you guys are using to be able to get that information out to the kind of collaborators on these projects?
Those are kind of our big ticket ones. I mean, we do use Navisworks as well, so that's I think a well-known tool out there that allows us to bring a variety of things into the environment, and it's nice to be able to share that with a variety of different people that can then take it and make use of it in other ways.
Yeah, for sure. I always ask this question too. So this will tell you what you guys are kind of focused on. How many VDC employees do you guys have today within Bird? We don't need to count Stuart Olson employees yet, but just Bird.
On our industrial group, I think we're about 7 or 8. I don't have an answer for on the buildings group side.
And I imagine that number has continued to climb its way up here over the last little bit.
It is, for sure.
Yeah, great
Absolutely.
to see. Any other kind of questions from the larger group here? We'll just give it another second or two here to see if anyone's got anything that's kind of poking into their head. Well, Dillon, this was awesome. I certainly think that the work you're doing is kind of the future of construction, and being able to bring design intent from the beginning of thinking through a project to actually executing on it, right? This ties into the vision of what we're doing at Autodesk, is being able to tie all of the design into execution. So this is, as I mentioned at the top, something that's very near and dear to our hearts here at Autodesk and the work that you're doing. So anything that we can do to support you, certainly let us know. And if there is questions that pop up, guys, continue to put them in chat. We might be able to go backwards, but I want to thank everybody for attending this morning, spending time to learn a little bit more about this topic. If you guys who are attending can tell your colleagues about the online CANBIM events, this is a fabulous community to be able to share information with each other to push the industry forward. This session is going to be recorded. So if you are wanting to watch this again, if you want to share this with others, certainly feel free to do so. I myself am on the CANBIM mailing list. I get a lot of good information, but you yourself can go and sign up for the CANBIM mailing list at the website, get information on upcoming virtual events. Hopefully we can get through all this mess and actually get back to seeing each other face to face. I know that as someone who is suffering from serious Zoom fatigue, I feel like I wake up on Zoom and go to sleep on Zoom. I'm excited to get back out on the road and start meeting people face to face again. Our next session is actually up at 10 a.m. Eastern. There's a late morning technical session as well that's concurrent, but the next session that is starting here at 10 a.m. is modular MEP fabrication in Revit, another tool that's near and dear to our hearts here at Autodesk. And I know that one that Dillon mentioned at the top, he's using quite a bit around the implementation of contemporary energy standards in Canada, sustainability, and the digital built environment. So again, I want to thank Dillon for the work he's done today. Certainly, if you have questions for myself and Dillon, our contact information has been shared. As well, I've provided a handout there that everybody, if they have questions around the Autodesk Construction Cloud, can get. Again, we're very happy to work with CANBIM and sponsor this event. So thank you very much for everyone's time today, and I hope everyone has a great Thursday and a great weekend.
Thanks, Luke.